For the last 3 years, renting in America felt unstoppable. Rents didn't just rise, they exploded. From glass towers in New York to brand new luxury apartments in Texas, landlords held all the power. Prices jumped overnight, waiting lists stretched for months, and tenants paid because they had no choice. But in 2025, something unthinkable is happening. Across the United States, rents are falling fast. Luxury units are sitting empty for lease. Signs are everywhere. Free rent is back. Deposits are getting waived. And for the first time in over a decade, landlords are the ones panicking. So what changed? Did demand suddenly disappear? Did America stop growing? Or did the housing market finally collide with reality? In this video, we're counting down the 10 US cities where rent is collapsing the fastest in 2025. Places that were once red hot, now flooded with vacancies and desperate incentives. And stay with me until number 1, because what's happening there may tell us where this market is headed next. Because if the current trend continues, 2026 won't be the year rents bounce back. Let's dive in. Every housing cycle breaks in the same place first. Not in struggling cities, not in places people never wanted to live. It breaks in the cities that rose too fast, the ones everyone believed were unstoppable. And that's where our countdown begins. Number 10, Austin, Texas. Just a few years ago, Austin was the dream. Tech workers flooded in, venture capital followed, developers couldn't build fast enough, luxury towers filled the skyline, and rents surged at historic speed. But here's what most people missed. Austin didn't just grow, it overbuilt. When tech hiring slowed and layoffs hit, demand cracked almost overnight. Thousands of brand new apartments suddenly had no one to fill them. In 2025, average rents in Austin are down sharply year over year. Buildings that once had wait lists are now offering free months, waived deposits, even bonuses just to sign a lease. This wasn't a slow decline. It was a math problem, high construction costs, high interest rates, and tenants who simply stopped paying whatever was asked. Austin didn't fail because people stopped liking the city. It failed because growth assumptions stopped matching reality. And Austin wasn't alone. Number 9, Miami, Florida. If Austin was built on tech optimism, Miami was built on excess. Pandemic money, crypto wealth, global investors, rents exploded, pushing locals out and turning luxury into the default. But Miami's problem wasn't demand, it was cost. Insurance premiums surged, HOA fees skyrocketed, new regulations made ownership more expensive by the month. Suddenly, landlords weren't just chasing tenants, they were bleeding cash. Luxury condos that once felt bulletproof are now sitting vacant. Airbnb owners are dumping units into the long-term rental market. And foreign investors, once Miami's safety net, are quietly pulling back. Rents are falling, incentives are back, and the illusion of endless demand is gone. Austin and Miami tell us something important. When a market depends on perfect conditions, cheap money, endless growth, and renters with no limits, it doesn't bend when conditions change. It cracks, and what comes next gets much bigger. For years, the Sun Belt was supposed to be different. Cheaper land, lower taxes, endless growth. Cities in the South were marketed as the safe bet, the place where housing demand would never run out. But in 2025, that belief is being tested. Number 8, Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta was the poster child for balanced growth. Jobs were coming in, people were moving in. Developers assumed demand would always catch up, so they built. Between 2021 and 2024, tens of thousands of new apartment units hit the market. Mostly luxury, mostly expensive. And here's the problem. Atlanta didn't suddenly lose people. Renters simply hit their limit. Wages slowed, inflation didn't. Student loan payments came back, household budgets tightened. Instead of upgrading, renters doubled up. Some moved farther out. Others left the metro entirely. By 2025, vacancies are climbing and rents are falling. Landlords are offering free months, free parking, and zero deposits, not because they want to, but because they have to. Atlanta didn't collapse overnight. It suffocated slowly. Number 7, Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas tells a different story, but ends the same way. For years, Vegas ran on momentum. People moved in from California. Investors snapped up homes. Short-term rentals exploded. Everyone assumed tourism would always cover the risk, but tourism never fully recovered. Conventions are smaller, casino hiring slowed, and thousands of Airbnb units are now flooding the long-term rental market. Homes that once rented instantly are sitting empty. Landlords are cutting prices just to stop the bleeding. And the most dangerous part? Overbuilding didn't stop. Projects approved during peak optimism are still coming online, adding supply to a market that's already struggling. The result feels familiar. Too much speculation, too little margin for error. Atlanta and Las Vegas exposed the same flaw in different ways. Growth was treated as guaranteed, renters were treated as unlimited, but when affordability breaks, even safe markets lose their footing. And the cities ahead on this list, they were even more confident. For a long time, one factor saved almost every hot housing market: migration. As long as people kept moving in, prices stayed high, vacancies stayed low, and developers stayed confident. But in 2025, that safety net is thinning. Number 6, Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix was one of the fastest growing cities in America. Families arrived from California and the Midwest. Developers responded with record speed. Entire neighborhoods appeared almost overnight. But speed became the problem. In just a short window, tens of thousands of new units hit the market, far more than demand could absorb. And when interest rates rose and migration slowed, the math broke. Suddenly, landlords were competing for the same tenants. Rents started falling. Free months returned. Some buildings even offered furnished units or prepaid utilities just to stay occupied. This wasn't panic. It was survival. Investors who bought at peak prices are now underwater, paying high interest on properties worth less than expected. Phoenix didn't lose its appeal, it lost its momentum. And when momentum disappears, oversupply has nowhere to hide. Number 5, Dallas, Texas. Dallas was supposed to be immune. Corporate relocations, a strong job base, a reputation for endless opportunity, and yet Dallas is slowing too. Between 2021 and 2024, developers added massive amounts of new housing, betting that young professionals would keep arriving and paying higher rents. But renters changed. Inflation cut into disposable income. Interest rates made everything more expensive. Hiring slowed across tech, finance, and corporate services. By 2025, Class A apartments, the newest, most expensive units, are sitting vacant at levels not seen in years. Landlords are offering rent credits, free utilities, and flexible leases, not because they want to, but because empty units are worse. Dallas shows us something critical. Even strong job markets can't support unlimited rent growth. Even booming cities can overbuild. When migration slows and affordability breaks, demand doesn't disappear, it becomes selective. Phoenix and Dallas mark the midpoint of this list for a reason. They aren't collapsing cities, they're correcting cities. And the ones still ahead? They built their confidence even higher, and the fall gets sharper from here. For years, one belief dominated American housing. If a city had tech jobs, it was safe, high salaries, endless hiring, and renters who could always pay more. But in 2025, that shield is cracking. Number 4, Boise, Idaho. Boise was never meant to be this expensive. It was a small mountain city, quiet, affordable, livable. Then remote work changed everything. Workers fled San Francisco, Seattle, and Portland. Cash offers poured in, rents doubled. Developers rushed to meet what looked like endless demand. But Boise had one problem no one wanted to talk about. Local incomes never caught up. Teachers, nurses, service workers, they watched rents climb past what their paychecks could handle. And then something else happened. Remote work slowed. Some companies called workers back, others stopped hiring altogether. The newcomers left. By 2025, vacancy rates are climbing fast. Landlords are cutting rents by hundreds of dollars. Projects are paused mid-construction. Investors are selling at losses just to exit. Boise didn't fail because it grew. It failed because it grew out of proportion. Number 3, Seattle, Washington. Seattle's story is bigger and quieter. For over a decade, tech money powered everything. Amazon, Microsoft, startups everywhere. Rents rose, cranes filled the skyline, and demand felt permanent. Then layoffs hit, not all at once, but steadily. High-income renters left. Some moved to cheaper states. Others chose smaller cities with better balance. Downtown buildings that once had waiting lists now offer free rent and cash incentives. Luxury units sit empty in neighborhoods that used to define prestige. But Seattle's shift isn't just economic, it's psychological. People no longer believe they have to live there to succeed. And when belief changes, demand follows. Boise and Seattle show the same truth at different scales. Tech doesn't eliminate cycles, it only delays them. When growth slows and affordability breaks, even the most innovative cities lose leverage. And now, only two cities remain. Cities once considered untouchable. Cities no one believed could ever be next. Every cycle has its final test. The moment when the cities everyone believed were immune are forced to face the same reality as everyone else. And that brings us to the last two. Number 2, San Francisco, California. If one city defines the word collapse, it's San Francisco. For years, it set the ceiling for American rent. Whatever happened elsewhere, San Francisco was always more expensive and always in demand. But in 2025, that myth is gone. Rents are down sharply. Vacancies downtown have hit record highs. Luxury units that once rented instantly are sitting empty for months. And this time, it's not cyclical. Remote work didn't reverse, it solidified. Tech workers didn't just leave temporarily, many never came back. Entire neighborhoods feel quieter, office towers sit half empty, and the ecosystem that once justified extreme rents is breaking apart. Landlords face rising taxes, insurance, and maintenance costs, while rents move in the opposite direction. For investors who bought at the top, there's no easy exit. Refinancing doesn't work. Selling locks in losses. San Francisco isn't correcting, it's transforming. Number 1, New York City. For generations, New York was different. No matter the crisis, demand always returned. That was the belief. But in 2025, even New York is slowing. Manhattan rents are down. Brooklyn and Queens are down even more. And incentives, once unthinkable, are back. Why? Because the city overbuilt at the wrong time. Between 2021 and 2023, developers bet on endless wealth and endless renters. Then layoffs hit finance, media, and tech. International buyers pulled back, and younger professionals started leaving for cheaper cities. Suddenly, landlords are competing, not for higher prices, but for tenants. New York isn't collapsing dramatically, it's contracting deliberately, and that's what makes this moment so important. When even the most powerful housing markets lose leverage, it signals something bigger than a local downturn. It signals the end of an era where rent only moved in one direction. And what comes next changes everything. So what does all of this actually mean? This wasn't just a list of cities where rent is falling. It was a map of where assumptions finally broke. For years, housing was treated like a one-way trade. Prices up, leverage permanent. Renters absorbed the cost. But 2025 changed the equation. Affordability hit its limit. Interest rates changed the math. And renters discovered something powerful. They could walk away. The biggest takeaway is simple. Housing didn't collapse everywhere. Confidence did. And once confidence cracks, markets behave very differently. Now, looking ahead to 2026, here's what's likely. Some cities will stabilize, not rebound. Others will quietly shrink without headlines or panic. Luxury-heavy markets will continue to struggle, while affordability-focused markets regain relevance. We're likely to see fewer cranes, more concessions, and slower decisions. Renters will negotiate. Landlords will compete, and housing will stop pretending it's immune to gravity. Now I want to hear from you. Are rents falling where you live? Have you tried negotiating your lease, and did it work? If you're an investor, do the numbers still make sense? And the most important question of all, is your city next or already there? Drop your city in the comments. Patterns matter more than headlines. Quick disclaimer before we close. This video is not financial advice. Housing markets are local. Outcomes depend on timing, location, and structure. Use this analysis as context, not instruction. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video with anyone making a housing decision in 2025 or 2026. And as always, the numbers tell the story.